Good afternoon, everyone. I am Arianna Giovannetti, and I work at Alpha Liguria, one of the Parkour for the Future partners. Together with my colleagues from Life EV, Scoala de Valori, ARNO, and the Goethe-Institut in Brussels, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to our final conference. I know that among you, there's such a diverse audience gathered today. We have representatives of the institutions, educators, youth organizations, and partners from all around Europe. But the nice and lovely thing that gathers and unites us all is our sharing of commitment in preparing the next generation for the world of work. I will really fastly introduce the program for today and then leave the floor to the speakers. As you can see here, we have one real honorable guest. We have Mr. Nicola Stefanuzza, that is the Vice President of the European Parliament and member of the Greens and the European Free Alliance, who will open our proceedings with his reflection on the project main themes. Following his speech, we will be addressed by Massimiliano Nannini, the Chief of Staff of the Liguria Regional Council, with a mandate in European and international affairs sector, who will bring the perspective of our host region, Liguria, and its commitment to education and innovation. After these two institutional messages, we will be introduced by our panel of distinguished speakers that will tackle the project themes by different perspectives. We will have the honor of having Natalia Kallio, a board member of the European Youth Forum, who will highlight the voices and aspirations of young people in shaping future policies. The floor will be then given to Paolo Nardi, the Executive Director of the European Forum of Technical and Vocational Education and Training, who will share insights on the challenges and opportunities that VET ecosystems face daily. Lastly, but not leastly, we will have Francesca Pignatelli, an educational process expert from ITS ICT Academy here in Genoa, that will close the panel speaking about the role of experiential and innovative learning environments in supporting informed and inclusive career pathways. Finally, the consortium will present the Parkour for the Future, both in its physical and digital forms, alongside with the accompanying materials and all the resources that have been developed alongside the 3 years of the project. I would like to thank you again for your participation and presence in joining us in this important discussion. Now, my super fast introduction is over, and I leave the floor to our first really honorable guest, the Vice President of the European Parliament, Nicola Stefanuzza. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Arianna, and thanks to all the organizations and all the speakers present today. I have been familiar, I must say, with the School of Values. And I got them to know them now in Bucharest when I went to see the quality of dorms, because I'm somebody who's very interested in helping on the educational sector, not just in terms of Erasmus, but also national topics, national and European topics. So when I met School of Values, it was because I was randomly searching through a dorm and I was filming undercover to see the quality of Romanian dorms. So then I pretended I was invited to School of Values, which happened to have a conference in one of the dorms, as a way to sneak in and see the state of dorms. So actually, it was a good excuse for me to see something, but I also got to know the School of Values, which was a very interesting project. I think it was interesting in the sense that what I saw there was that students were trying to find solutions to community problems and to learn how to address such problems by cooperating, by learning of the institutions, by knowing what to do, how to get involved. So I thought it was a very nice format. I saw there was a Romania-Luxembourg project there, and it was really fascinating to see the young people discussing solutions to societal, community, educational issues. I understand your focus is more on education, correct, Ariano?
Yes, we are.
And the most present. And so I will refer to those things in a brief remark, if that's all right.
Absolutely, please. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Thank you.
I think as a continent, we face an educational crisis in the sense that budgets are limited. There's competing objectives for the same budget. There's financing. There's a new discussion on the MFF, and all for less money. And the problem of less money is super, super important because we are entering a new financial framework for from 2028. However, with less willingness to spend. Uh, you remember when we entered 2019, this current mandate, and then the COVID crisis happened, we adopted the Next Generation program, which was something historic because it was the first time that the union borrowed money for different projects together, etc. But some of the nations that allowed that to happen said it's a one-off. It's only once in a lifetime that we do this. And I think it shouldn't be a one-off. I think it should be a common practice that the European Union borrows together, makes projects together, and repays them. But here we are. And that has an impact on education because even if, for instance, the Erasmus project has been growing and will grow, other projects are affected. And I'm thinking about uh, citizens' rights and values. I'm thinking about Horizon. I'm thinking about the Solidarity Corps, volunteering, the project side of Erasmus, all of these. Further on, the value of the money is undercut by inflation, as we all know, and the money that is available no longer meets the needs. For instance, I have a program called Erasmus Equality that I launched last mandate that said that all Erasmus scholarships should be better equipped. I dream of an Erasmus scholarship that is at least 1,000 euros. Because why, right now, with 700 euros to go to France, to go to Germany, to go to Italy, to go to Bologna, for instance, or Milano, to live with 1,000 euros, with less than 1,000 euros, is impossible. So that means Erasmus cannot become a scholarship only for rich kids. It's a message that I keep passing along. It's a message I campaigned on. I don't want European programs to be discriminating against kids that don't have money from the parents. It's a big social problem that I see because in Europe, Europe should never be an elite project. Europe should never be a project for only young people who have enough means to study from their parents. I think it's a matter of vision. And I'm also fighting with the Commission on this, and I hope you can support me that I'm trying to say, hey, if you're getting more money as you are in this new MFF, please don't spend it on more scholarships. Spend it on better scholarships. Spend it on sufficient scholarships, not more. Because there is this temptation for the European Union to say, oh, we sent 3 million people on Erasmuses and they all turned very pro-European, etc. Yeah, sure. But did you look if they lived well? Did you look if they were representative for the society? Did you look if they came from the rural side? Did you look if they were poor kids uh, or just an elite? And that's a major problem for me. I will say a few more things. I think Europe needs to be daring. We need to have more European education. I would even say something that doesn't sound typical of a green. I would say, I think we need even more European patriotism and European common curricula because in this world that we are stepping in, it matters again to have solidarity between each other as Europeans. Uh, there are competing nations. There are uh, outside forces that hate us, outside forces that want to destroy us. They want to destroy our way of life, our Europeanism.
and we need to defend it. So, for instance, I'm working a lot these days to strengthen everything that has to do with NGOs, civil society, as a form of promoting more a European identity, European values, things like that. And also because we are living in a time where NGOs themselves are under attack. So anything you do in cooperation with other NGOs, with other organizations from across the Union, for me, it's the best guarantee to strengthen this European identity, to strengthen our sentiment that we are in this together, that we can never be separated again. And education is truly, truly fundamental to have this consciousness. I don't know if I told you what you wanted me to hear. I see Hano gave me an applause. Thank you. That's very sweet of you. But in any case, if you have any question you might want to address me, I can be here for another couple of minutes. Gabriela Cholpan, a fellow Romanian, I think from the name, also gave me a thumbs up. Thank you for that as well.
Thank you so much. We didn't need anything from you. Your presence here was an honor for us. And actually, we think that our project and the way that we are trying to help youngsters build themselves, build their identities, in a peaceful exchange, but also in an aware manner, kind of reflects what you said. And we really hope for a united Europe for our kids and for the next generations. So thank you so much for your presence here today and for your efforts at the European Parliament they're not going unnoticed, really. Thank you so
Ariana,
much.
and thank you
So
to all
I
your guests. And I'll be happy to.
Let me check in the questions box if we have anything. We only have. Thank you so much. I think that we lost your voice for a second. In our chat box, we have a lot of comments. Okay, there you are again.
Okay.
I think we had some minor connectivity
thank you so
issues.
Much. It's very kind of you, and may you have excellent discussions. I'm your ally here in the European Parliament. Peace out.
Peace out. Thank you so much. Have a nice day and
bye.
And best of luck with your job. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
So we thank the Vice President of the European Parliament for his presence here, and we are ready to pass on to our second institutional greetings that comes from, well, my house, my home basically. We have the honor of having Massimiliano Nannini, which is the Chief of Staff from the regional government and also as a mandate in European and international affairs sector. So Mr. Nannini, the floor is yours. Thank you for your presence.
Thank you very much, Ariana. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's an honor for me to be here today and to represent the government of Liguria region. And congratulations for what we have done so far. And this final conference is a kind of a big achievement, and I'm very proud to see that one of our organization, specifically Alpha, is a part of the project. And that's why I think that was important also for me to be here today and telling you something a little bit more on what the Liguria region is doing. So since we arrived in November 2024, we decided to reopen our headquarters in Brussels, strongly believing that we needed to be more connected between Europe and Liguria, and so that's exactly what we did, and we started working very close to the European Commission and the Parliament. And from the education standpoint, we signed agreement, especially with the University of Genoa, but not only with the University of Genoa, to be able to and capable to bring more people, more young guys in Europe to have this experience. That is for us a win-win experience because it is a winning for the guys that have the opportunity to work with the institution in Brussels, but it is also a winning for us because in the worst case scenario, they will stay working in Brussels and our representative there. In the best case scenario, they will come back and work in the region with a strong background of the European institution. So we are very proud of that. We have put some money, I would say important money on this project, and starting from next year, if you come to visit our offices in Brussels, you will see, I would say not a lot, but few guys from the university doing their tuition, during their studies and periods of internship within the European Commission and Parliament, and it will be paid by the region. So I heard the discussion about from the Vice President about the problem that Erasmus shouldn't become something for rich people. In our case, it will become free for everybody. So it's just a matter of be able to run for the position and apply for the position, and this is something that we are very proud of, and I don't want to take any other time other than congratulations for what you have done and what you are going to do, and I leave the floor back to Arianna. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nannini, for your support and your kind words. And I can say first-handedly, because we work, we could say, in the same offices, that Liguria region really makes an effort to cover for the education and innovation of its students and its youngsters. And our programs show that, you know, caring and really making an effort makes a difference in our generations and in the world of work. So let's keep up the good work. Thank you so much for your presence here again, and for supporting the project and our organization. So also we are receiving thanks and heads up from the public, from the audience, for you too. So as you can see, we are really pleased to have such wide and intense institutional and political support. It is something that grounds us and helps us, you know, to define what are our perspectives and our directions for the future. But talking about perspectives, now I would like to introduce you to our group of panelists that will tackle different themes and topics that are, we could say, central to our project. And I would like to call upon this digital floor that we have our first speaker, which is Natalia Kallio. I remember you, she's a board member of the European Youth Forum, and she will talk to us about her experience and the organization's experience in involving youngsters in defining next generation policies. Natalia, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for your presence.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Could I get like a 1 thumbs up reaction so that I know before I start?
We can hear.
Perfect. Amazing. So good afternoon, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm Natalia Kallio, and I represent the European Youth Forum, which is the world's largest platform for youth organizations. We represent quite diverse and big range of youth organizations in Europe, and we are working to ensure that young people's rights are respected and their voices are heard in Europe and beyond. But let me begin to start to thank you for this kind invitation, and by congratulations to your huge project, which is getting to its end. It is really encouraging to see initiatives that focus on one of the most critical issues for young people today, the transition from the education to the labor market. And at the Youth Forum, this transition is one of our top priorities. And for many years, we have been campaigning for the end of the unpaid internships, which, by the way, is a hot potato at the moment, since the European Parliament is preparing to vote about it very soon. The unpaid internships too often create the inequalities and prevent young people without financial means from accessing opportunities. But beyond internships, the entire transition to work has become more complex and less linear than it used to be for young people. In the past, most young people finished their studies, they got their degree, and then they moved into a job. Today, the path is very different. Young people may take a gap year, they do several internships, paid or non-paid, and they return to education and then search for work again. This flexibility can be positive, but at the same time, it carries a real risk. The risk of leaving behind those who already are furthest away from the labor market by amplifying the inequalities in opportunities. This is why earlier this year, the European Youth Forum updated our position paper on the Youth Guarantee, the EU's employment policy that promises that every need, so young person not in education, employment or training, an opportunity within the 4 months. While the need rate is not as high as in the aftermath of the financial crisis, it has been stagnant for the past years. And in some countries, we are seeing very worrying patterns. For example, a significant proportion of needs are young mothers, which highlights the importance of addressing gender equality in this question. And I was really glad to see that this project also recognized the gender as a key dimension. But the youth guarantee cannot just be about filling a vacancy. It must be centered around the young person sitting across the table with their whole set of needs, aspirations, and challenges. Supporting the transition to adulthood is about much more than employment. It requires housing support, access to mental health services, and holistic approach involving multidisciplinary teams. That is why policies and programs like this one must be packed with the necessary investments. And this is especially urgent now as the negotiations for the new MFF framework are starting. And we call on the European institutions to ensure sufficient funding for youth employment measures. And going back, when I learned about your project, there was few aspects that really stood out for us. First, the focus on digital and green skills, areas which are central not only to Europe's future, but also to our recommendations in our position paper about youth guarantee. And second, the project potential to prevent early school dropout. This is still one of the most important factors in ensuring that no young person is left behind. And finally, I was struck by how this project sits at the intersection of formal and non-formal education. At the Youth Forum, we strongly advocate for the recognition of non-formal education and the skills young people acquire through it. Teamwork, leadership, resilience, all kinds of competencies that are crucial for lifelong learning and for their development as an active citizens. And to conclude, I would like to return to the bigger picture. Supporting the transition from education to work is not only about getting young people into the job. It's about ensuring that those furthest away from the labor market receive the support they need across the different sectors and areas of life. I come from Finland and I want to share a reflection back from home, as Finland is often known as a strong welfare state, and I'm proud of that. But at the same time, we now face one of the highest unemployment rates in the EU, and this shows very clearly that even the well-developed welfare systems are not enough if we look at only the employment in an isolation. What young people need is the holistic support, not only access to the jobs, but also affordable housing, good mental health services, and opportunities to develop the critical thinking and lifelong learning skills. So when we talk about skills, let's not only think about employability, but about preparing young people to thrive in society as a whole. And that is how we make sure that no one young people is left behind. Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me to this event. And I'm looking forward to hear from other panelists as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia, and thank you for highlighting our real priorities and the topics that we should all put a collective effort in working on. And thank you, and also thank you for your guys' work. It's really important, and we always look up to you. So I would say that we could continue with the panelists, and then maybe if there are any questions for you, we can give them out. Thank you so much again. So as I introduced before, we're going to be having different perspectives taken by different professionals. We heard the voice from the voices of the youngsters. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Paolo Nardi, which is the Executive Director from the European Forum for Vet Education and Training. Hi, Paolo, the floor is yours. Thank you for your presence.
Hi, thank you very much, Arianna. Well, first of all, really, thank you very much for this invitation. I've been in contact with most of the partners of this project for many years, and I'm happy to see this project so successfully managed and coming to not an end, yes, an end to some extent, but an end which for sure will be a new beginning in terms of impact. As mentioned, I'm the executive director at EFET, which is the European Forum for Technical and Vocational Education and Training. We are a network representing more than 2,000 vet centers and more or less 2 million learners in Europe, mainly in Europe, but also beyond. What I would like to do with you is just to share some reflections based on our experience as, to some extent, our point of view of managers, teachers, trainers of the vet ecosystem. And based on the main topic of the project and the results of the project, so related to, of course, greening, the importance of the social pillar and inclusion, and importance of course, of digital, I would like to focus on three main concepts, let's say. The first one is mindset. I think the experience that we live, not just here in Brussels, but going around in Europe and also beyond Europe, is that we really need a paradigm shift in terms of mindset. Vocational education and training is not just training, is education and training, meaning that we need to look not just at the technical skills part, the technical capabilities of a person, but we need to look at the holistic development of a person. And when it comes to holistic, means again technical skills, but also personal skills, social skills, citizenship skills. To some extent, when we plan, when we develop training solutions, training aspects, we need to have in mind this holistic approach in order to generate a real inclusion. Because only when we look at the person, at the learner, as a person and not just as a future worker, that we can really think of a complete education and training solution, which can include the learner, whatever the capabilities, the starting point is. To some extent, vocational education and training should empower the capabilities, whatever they are, technical, social, personal. So the first word is mindset. The second one is about responsibility. You have been working on greening. I think there are a lot of sources highlighting the importance of greening. So, of course, you don't need my endorsement on that. By the way, you can look at the future of job reports by the World Economic Forum or recent project by UNESCO UNEVOC, the BUILD project on greening curricula, greening solutions. So when it comes to greening, usually we talk about new solutions in order to fill the gap, the existing or future skills gap in terms of jobs related to the green sector. But it's not only this, and it's not only related to new technical skills again, but it's something related to the sense of responsibility that we should develop in our vet communities, teachers, trainers, and learners, and managers, of course. That whatever is our impact in the environment, this impact should be a positive impact. not only in terms of environment, but also the people living that environment. So when it comes to greening, I think that this idea to work on people's responsibility, to feel responsible for what I have around me, including the people living the context around me. So mindset, responsibility. The third concept is about capability. In the project, we also have, of course, mentioned the aspect of digital skills, digitalization, new technologies. Of course, we need to work a lot on this, and thank you also for your contributions. Currently, I think that the last figures mentioned 56% of European people have basic digital skills with a goal of 80% by 2030. So we need to work a lot on this. But again, the more we invest in digital skills, the more we need to invest in critical thinking and in ethics in order to empower people. And today, talking about digital skills, technology, AI means empower people, giving them accessibility to the 21st century world. But the more we invest in this, the more we need to invest in critical thinking in order to empower people to do, but also to decide what to do and to know the rationale and the right decision behind that. Just a final word about the challenges that we see from our perspective. First of all, I really like the idea of parkour. I think it's the best example to represent what is vocational education training, which is, at the end of the day, an ecosystem where we have schools, companies, community, of course, families. So it's an ecosystem. And vocational education training is the best setting to develop this integral personal development, because it takes values and ideas and opportunities from the whole reality, including the different stakeholders. Of course, one important aspect is, are we ready? Or how can we help each other in being ready, all the different stakeholders, to adapt for a world which is, of course, changing continuously, rapidly, implying that, for instance, being an actor, a player in the VET ecosystem means, first of all, to be ready to continuous changing. So I will just stop here with this question, which is a reflection that we are working on, asking all of you to help us, to contact us. Now that we are at the beginning of an important moment for the VET ecosystem and the education ecosystem with the new multi-annual financial framework, the next VET strategy, how can we promote right policies for your work? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paolo, for your intervention. I think that your points of discussion has given us some activists to think on, and it's always so nice, to know that there are organizations like yours that actually cares to find a place to confront and to share ideas. And one main topic, one main thing that came into my mind when you were thinking is that we have to start thinking and working and acting systematically in a systems way. If not, it's not possible. We will all stay divided and isolated, and this is not something that we want. And thank you so much for having seen this approach in our work. That was one of its fundamental basics, and we really hope that we can upscale our ideas and why not our results to higher levels to be able to reach as many people as possible, and especially to engage them. So thank you so much again for your work, for your presence, and all of the participants are giving you thumbs ups and hearts and kudos. It really has been a pleasure. Thank you so much, and see you soon for our joint work. So we are coming almost to the end of our panelist discussion. As I mentioned before, we are trying to give you as a wide as possible perspective on the themes and on the actors that are involved in our thinking, in our research, in our methodology. So we wanted to close off this very interesting section of discussion with Francesca Pignatelli. She's an educational processes expert, and she worked in the ITS Academy here in Genoa. She will explain to you what are these kind of educational institutions that are typical to our nation and that are one of the ultimate providers of technological education for our youngsters. Francesca, you have the floor. Thank you for.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can, Francesca. No worries.
Just a sec. Sorry. I'm trying to share my slide. Condividi. Okay. Is it okay with my slide?
Not yet here, but I'm sure they will come.
Okay. Because it seems stuck. Okay. Maybe right now. Is it okay?
Not yet.
No. Okay. Condividi.
Okay, now we see your whole screen. Okay, now we see them.
Okay.
Super.
Sorry. Okay, good evening. My name is Francesca Pignatelli, Process Manager at ICT Accademia Digitale Liguria. On behalf of my organization, in particular its President Guido Torielli and Director Silvia Alcozer, would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for inviting us to participate in this project's final conference. So as will be explained in detail in my presentation, issues such as guidance, counseling, and learning by doing process and practices are key activities in our daily training program. So completely aligned with your evidence and project results. Okay, just a little bit of history, very, very fast. ITS is a national system. The first Italian experience of tertiary vocational training offer in line with a system consolidated some years ago in other countries of the European Union. Starting from a decree in 2008, we start operating to train high-level technicians in a strategic area for economic development and growth for our country. So we have high technological schools, close link to the production system, preparing specialized middle managers who can help govern, exploit the potential of enterprise 4.0 in companies. This is an Italian industrial policy that aims to promote the adoption of digital technologies and innovative solutions by company to increase their productivity at national and international level. So nowadays we are a lot. We start in 15 in 2008. We are more or less 147 on the territory. In this slide, you have the geographical distribution of all ITS in Italy, breakdown by technological area. So here you have technological area from energy, mobility, chemistry, technology, ICT, so information technology, communication, of course, services for business, agri-food system, made in Italy, and so on. We have here Liguria, okay. Currently in Liguria, we have 6 ITS. Who is the target? So first of all, we act as private and public partnership to carry out with involvement of private partners activities for public utility. Okay. We have young people and adults holding in access to our pathway, holding a secondary school diploma, a 4-year diploma of vocational education and training, or people who attend in 1-year integrative at least of 800 hours of pathway. So just to better understand the positioning of ITS in our educational system, I use normally, I used to, I think the Eurodice diagram better show the structure of our educational system. So you have 2 clusters of diagrams with the mainstream. The first one shows all the overall mainstreaming, sorry, educational flow from early childhood, passing from primary and secondary education, okay, including all the BET system. And then in the second cluster, you have the tertiary level, so the higher education, including university, so university system, and our 2 or 3-year programs proposed by ITS short cycle. Courses allow the acquisition of a higher technical diploma at the end of pathway with a certification of competencies corresponding to the 5 level of European qualification framework, and the Europass diploma supplement is released too. So these are the 6 ITS in Liguria. Our ITS in Genoa promotes, this is our principal main founding members and participating members, okay, are representing upper second school, university, university departments, BET organizations, company, network school company, whose educational programs or core business are aligned with our ICT technological area of reference. Here we have our 5 pathway. We starting in December 2025 from digital and social marketing pathway, passing through all the full stack front-end, back-end, AI specialist pathway. Okay, in conclusion, to stress some distinctive feature of our educational approach, really aligned to your results. We really trust in an educational blended approach of theory and practice. We stress innovation in content, teaching methods, and teaching support tools. The overall training program is designed and organized, adapting the curriculum and programs to the context of use, identifying ICT companies' real needs and requirements of our regional territory. We adopt approaches, model, and methodologies able to offer experiential teaching. And we have always the presence of dedicated professionals such as tutors, guidance, counselors, for the management of the overall pathway and above all for the internship period. In conclusion, among the main projects developed following the above mentioned features, we are planning for this academic year our PCTO, as are called in Italy, our pathways for transversal skill and guidance, programs designed to guide students in their final 3 years of secondary school towards the world of work, further study, and development of transferable skills, represent an educational methodology integrated with classroom, through which curriculum knowledge and skills are transferred to students, creating educational experiences, real educational experience, useful for better understanding how the labor market works. At the same time, students are able to acquire so-called soft skills, useful quality, of course, required among young people in the workplace. We have in our pathway factory digital labs. All courses involve their students, their participants, dividing them into groups, guiding them by a single proposing company to develop a complete project with the aim of stimulating and producing learning, not only through transmission of knowledge, but also through the proactive and of participants. And these 2 final projects, very important for our ITS this year. The cyber game is a very important, relevant national contest organized by our cybersecurity national agency. To training is to promote training initiatives that combines training and competition to prepare young people for the challenge of the digital world, specifically about cybersecurity. And finally, our last project, ITS 4.0. We are developing with our students across functional teams of students of the second years, an escape room for guidance purpose. So they are developing checkpoints as defined by one of our students to it meant to address a specific topic or subject. We have a checkpoint about cybersecurity, logic, robotics, and so on. So thank you very much for this invitation, and I look to having a future collaboration with you, maybe in another European project. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Francesca, for showing us how one of the many examples of educational and training environments where the Parkour for the Future can be implemented, and for sure us as well, we surely hope we could bring the Parkour for the Future in your quarters and develop new partnerships with you. So with Francesca's intervention, our panelist discussion has come to an end. I take this chance to thank them again, alongside with Mr. Nannini and Mr. Stefanuzza, for being present to our conference and giving us like a mental space to put you participants, you audience in, and like preparing the table for us to present the actual results of our 3 years long project. So as the agenda says, now we will be presenting such set results, starting with Lisa Effner, which is a representative from Life e.V., our leading partner. Please, Lisa, come to our floor and discuss with the participants about our Parkour and the main accompanying materials.
So good. 1 second. Good afternoon also from my side, everyone. And I would first of all like to thank also the speakers for giving so much time to our project and also in the effort for the effort to enrich this final conference. And I have now I have now the honor to present you the very specific outcomes of the project. So coming from this very broad and overarching keynotes and insights, we go down to the ground to really what has happened in this project. And first of all, I would like to give you some overall information on the project very shortly, and then dive a bit deeper into the real parkour and make you almost make an parkour experience. So first of all, these are the partners of the project. We were a project of 5 partners from Italy, Alpha, namely from Northern Macedonia, ARNO. You see here the colorful dots. Then the Goethe-Institut was part of the project consortium, as well as our organization LIFE. And last but not least, Scoala de Valori from Romania. We have been funded by the Erasmus Plus program from the European Union for the last 3 years, and we were funded within the Key Action 2, which is a cooperation partnership in vocational education and training. And we are now almost at the end of this project. What were our objectives and what were we doing in these 3 years? We had 2 main objectives. The first one was to understand the future labor market challenges and the trends in our European regions. And we were focusing mainly on environmental and climate protection in and around the working markets and the situation of young people and educators. And in the second step, out of this intensive research and exchange, we were creating innovative learning methods and want to support stakeholders. We published many materials. I will come to these in a second. So first of all, we published background research materials from all the exchange that we had about our European regions. And secondly, we developed physical and digital learning tools and further educational materials. And all of these materials are sought for professionals in vocational orientation and of course for the young people who are in their vocational orientation phase. So what has come out of all of these efforts in 3 years? I wanted to give you a very short overview of some products and then focus on the parkour as the main and key product of our project. So what came out as a first product was our thesis paper, which is about the integration of sustainability, digitalization, and gender equality in education and career guidance. We give a broad overview about the labor market situation, and we come down to how to integrate all these trends and new trends to the concrete and specific situation of young people in their vocational orientation phase. This paper was published in 5 languages. You see them below. Secondly, we published country slides and background papers. So we wanted to share with you, the audience, the labor market trends in our countries, the green and digital economy, youth employment. And we had a look at this in all our regions, but also in the whole of the EU. This was published in English language. And out of all these deep diving materials, we finally developed an e-learning platform, an interactive course, which is mainly based on these findings from the other materials, and where you can do quizzes and other learning snippets to get to the research content of the thesis paper. Further results was a conference which took place 2 years ago on empowering young people to drive the green and digital transition. Here we focused also on labor market trends and the young people's situation. And out of all of our, or accompanying all these more content results, we also published a roadmap which should help all kinds of educators and stakeholders to broadly implement the parkour. This will be published in English, German, Italian, Macedonian, and Romanian, and has already been published in English on the website, which will be shown to you in the end of today's meeting. Last but not least, something that is not really narrowed down to a concrete or specific product, but what of course happened all the time is a lot of transnational exchange, finding out about life situations in different European countries and especially on the educational systems among the partner countries. Here you see the consortium in the Repair Cafe, Nothing New in Skopje at the last transnational project meeting. And I now want to show you some more details about the real parkour, and I will show you first the parkour concept. What is a parkour about? What are the stations about? And which accompanying materials have we published to support you in rebuilding and doing the parkour on your own? So what is the general thought of this parkour? What we want to do with it is, first of all, to attract young people to the topics of future work and sustainability. We want to make them interested in future professions and also do that by finding out about their personal preferences. We want to show them what is there as an opportunity, because often young people don't even know what can be done, what kind of jobs exist, what kind of ecological action can be done in a workplace. So we want to show these opportunities. And it was also an important factor to overcome gender-specific career choice and to open up every dimension and every way of choosing your career without being biased in a gender-specific way. Coming down to the concrete parkour, what you see here is one of the physical parkour stations. And the general idea of a parkour is that it is an interactive digital and physical learning tool with different learning stations. In this case, we have 14 learning stations, some of them digital, some physical. And of course, we want educators and pedagogical personnel in vocational orientation to use them and share them with their students. Students using the parkour should be at least in 8th grade or around 14 years old, but there's no limitation to the age. So even grown-ups can do it. I think it's fun for everyone. And we published the parkour as an open educational resource, so everyone can rebuild and reuse it. The physical parkour stations are short tasks of 5 to 15 minutes. They are gamified. I think you can get an idea of the gamification when looking at these train and wagons here. They should be haptic, interesting, inviting materials. So it's we are really interested in having the students doing something that is fun to them, that they don't feel like doing just a working sheet, but doing something else, using something with their hands, trying out something really. And we are also, it's also important to have kind of an open learning setting, so the students interact with materials on different levels in a haptic way, in a cognitive way, maybe even in an emotional way. They try out things with their hands, so learning takes place not just as a cognitive interaction, but also as a really lively hands-on interaction. Coming a bit closer to what is exactly inside our parkour, I don't want to go through all of this table with you. I just want to show you the general structure. So we have 14 stations, you see in the 14 lines here, and there's a key message or a mindset for every station. And I would like to show you the principle of the parkour stations by going through one of the stations. So, for example, Station 6 has the name Make a Change in Other Parts of the World. And the mindset that we want to show by the station is sustainability in your future job has positive effects on the global scale. How do we make students have a learning experience addressing this mindset? There's 3 parts in every Parkour station. First of all, we have a description of a job scenario and a mindset. There are station tasks in every station, bringing the students through the station step by step, and there's specific replicable materials that you as an educator can print out and rebuild at home to make them have this learning moment. In this case, the station is about a t-shirt production. The students go step by step through the production steps. You can see the cotton the cotton growing on the field in the first part, and then you go through the different parts of the production. And then students are asked, in this case, to analyze the steps of the chain. So they must bring these production steps in the right order. In a second part, they can make improvements. They have small paper triangles they can put on the single production steps and thereby make an improvement, decide in which parts of the production they want to make the improvement. And of course, every station needs kind of a reflection and endpoint. And in this case, the students are asked to now bring together and document their changes they made in the supply or production chain, and then make a slogan for their t-shirt and have this sheet as kind of their offer to the chef or their boss to make the boss to convince the boss of changing the production to make a better t-shirt. Yeah, this is like one exemplary station of the parkour. And of course, the physical parkour has 6 more stations working more or less in a similar way. Just as a very quick insight and as 3 more examples, there's the station of being a cook in a canteen where students must weigh components for a burger. They must make in a canteen as a cooking team, and the weight of each component of the burger is connected to the really emitted CO2, so carbon dioxide emissions. And they also make a very direct physical experience here. In the second station, they are asked to make their office climate friendly. They change some of the features of the office and thereby also emit less carbon dioxide. And the third example of a station is about water management. They work with real water here and must distribute the water among different stakeholders in a fair way, and of course discuss themselves what they think is fair. And a last insight, and then we produce 2 resources helping you to rebuild the parkour and to use it. First of all, we will publish a rebuild manual where you have all the descriptions of how to rebuild all this parkour on your own. There's a list of materials. There are rebuild instructions for each of the stations. You see an example of a page here in the bottom on the right. And then there is an implementation and educational manual, which will help you from a bit pedagogical point of view and shows you how to conduct the parkour, what is the pedagogic concept behind the parkour and behind the stations. It helps you to set up the parkour for the use and gives you further educational information. So these 2 manuals will make you or empower you as a pedagogical professional to really implement the parkour in a class, in a school setting, in an event, wherever you use it. And last but not least, a very short insight into how we develop the parkour. You see here on the left side a slide with all the ideas that we gathered as a consortium in the beginning. So ideas from each country and each partner came into our box of ideas. Out of some ideas, we then built prototypes. We were testing this with 275 students and around 15 teachers, and gathered a lot of feedback, which then made us able to finalize the parkour. And the parkour will be published on the web page of the project. Arianna will give you an insight into the web page at a later step. So that was a very short and quick presentation of all the materials and especially the physical part of the parkour that we developed in the project. And I think the next one will be George to present the digital part of the project.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It was fast but effective. I think that we presented all the necessary info to attract the participants to see what our Parkours is about. Still, we do have the digital part to tackle and to discover, so I leave the floor to my colleague, George.
Thank you, Arianna. Let me just try and share my screen. And please, guys, if you could just give me a hands up that everything's working. Okay, I got the hands up. Great. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Everything's fine.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. Yeah, and I was just thinking, well, Lisa was talking that it did seem like it was only 2 months, not even 2 years, working on this wonderful PAFF project. And I'm George. I'm here on behalf of Scoala de Valori, the partner organization from Romania. We were the ones in charge of developing the digital stations of the parkour. So you might be asking yourself, why digital stations? Because we wanted to make the educational outputs accessible to a much wider group of young people. With the physical parkour, even though it's more hectic, more touchy, I would say, sometimes it's hard to build it in all of the schools we want to reach. And this poses a number of challenges, but with the digital stations, obviously, it's accessible to basically anyone that has connection to internet and tablet or laptop. So we wanted to build inclusiveness so that we could reach students from rural areas, from remote areas that could participate in our parkour. We also wanted to scale it. We wanted as many users to access it at the same time. Lisa was just saying that we tested it with 275 students. We're again running all kinds of workshops with other students in Romania and in all of the countries of the consortium. So the scalability is big, but also we wanted to look into the sustainability of the stations that we develop, because basically the stations are our means to deliver the messages that Lisa was just presented to the students and the kids. And so we wanted to create something that remains available online even after the project ends. And obviously all of the digital stations will be available for everyone to use as they are just published online. And I will show you at the end of my presentation where you could access them. But also I just wanted to clarify here that us in Scoala de Valori were working a lot on educational materials that are digital and accessible to everyone. And so this is also, I mean, our involvement in PAFF was also because of our strategy to make education digital and more accessible for all of the students in Europe, but not only. So what are the digital stations? Well, basically, they're just as the physical stations, but they're online. And I'm not saying that they have the same flows, they don't have the same experience, but they are based on, I would say, the same basic messages that we wanted to send as a project, as a consortium to the students. And so we have 7 online interactive stations, and each station is a gamified challenge that's inspired by the topics of future jobs, skills, green economy, innovation, digital skills, collaboration. And the thing is that they are designed to let young people explore competencies, interests, and even career paths. What we try to do with the digital stations is not only to create the parkour, so basically a flow of 7 stations that teachers could use in their classrooms, or trainers in their workshops, or even kids and students to do it on their own. But also, we wanted to look into each of the station to make it part of a story, but also to make it a an experience that could be played separately. And so all of the stations deliver messages that could be taken as a whole, but also one by one. And I just wanted to, because we did talk a lot about what the parkour is and why we're doing this, and so I just wanted to take a minute now to share an example of a station that I really like. It's called Step Into Tomorrow. And actually, we're trying to inspire the young people to imagine alternative futures and connect vision with action with this station. As you will see in the little flow that I drafted on here, it feels like a coaching session, I would say, when it comes to the green future in everyone's agency to turn the alternative futures into reality. And so kids and students start by imagining and describing a better world that they want to see in 2045. And then they have to create a vision board, and vision boards are very big, especially for high school students. And basically they have to drag and drop icons and images that represent their future vision, and they have very big number of icons, images, values that they want to be part of the future world that they are imagining. And then after they make this vision board, and after they imagine and represent their future vision, they're looking into the gaps between where we are right now and where they want to be in the future. And so they try to identify 2-3 barriers that stand in the way of their future vision becoming true. And the next step of the station is actually, I think what's really, really cool about the station is the step of building the bridge, where students basically are guided into proposing 3 concrete actions that they could do to move towards that vision. And actually the station closes with a commitment that each of them makes, where they choose one small step that leads them towards their future vision, but a step that they could start taking and doing this very week. And so we're looking into outcomes such as creativity, critical thinking, action planning, everything while reflecting on sustainability and digital transformation. And I just wanted to share like maybe a little flow so that you see what these digital stations are all about, and what we try to send as messages and experiences to the students that these stations will reach. But this is just one of the 7 digital stations. We have other messages that we try to send with our digital stations. For example, we have a station that looks into the digital skills and how they are very important resources that everyone should know how to use. But also when it comes to digitalization, we're looking into the good sides of the digitalization, but also the bad sides of the digitalization. And we have the dark side of the smartphone as a station that looks into sustainability when it comes to technological progress. Also, we did talk about VET jobs. And one of the stations that we designed is actually looking into sending the message that sustainable transformation relies on the VET jobs. And also we have a station that's called Women to Remember, and it's actually one of my favorite. And we're looking into women of impact in the past and how it is our duty to make their impact visible nowadays. Also, we're looking, because we're called Scoala de Valori, which in English is School of Values. We love to teach youngsters about values, and so we have designed a station where they basically spin their values, the students. It's called Career Compass, and what we try to send as a message here is that it's very important to get to know your own values when you want to find your professional way. And obviously, careers are not always like a straight line, and so we also want to teach the kids that it's very important to embrace lifelong learning and what we call unstraight careers, because there's not just one way to go, and I'm pretty sure you guys agree with this. So lots of things to talk about, but very not much time. But I'm very happy to publish the stations right now. Us as a consortium. You could find the digital stations in the link that you could see on the screen. And also, if you can use your smartphone or tablet to scan the QR code, it will direct you to the digital stations that are published online. They are available in English and in other languages, national languages of the countries that are part of the consortium. So we have German, Italian, Romanian, and Macedonian. And I would be able to speak about them for minutes, hours maybe, but I think the best thing that you could do is just go online and try them out. And obviously you will see how cool they are. Thank you, everyone. And I'm sure that the link and all of the resources will also come to you after our event tonight.
Thank you so much, George, for completing the description of our digital parkour. And also, I just checked the QR code, and it works. So this is amazing. Usually, we do have problems with publishing and say, oh yeah, things are published now, and they are not. Thank you for all the participants that stick with us for so long. It's much appreciated. So I didn't want to, we had another presentation, but I think the time is running out a little bit, and my colleagues have been absolutely exhaustive with their presentations. So the last thing that we wanted to show you guys is actually the box, the containers, where you can find, or you will be able to find over the next few days, all of the resources and the results that Lisa and George have discussed about. A couple of results that haven't been mentioned yet are the roadmap for implementation and the e-learning platform. You will find them on our website, which is paffproject.net. As you can see here, you have the main home page. Let me see if I can actually scroll down to it, because I should have control. Okay, I have it. It's just a little bit slower because my connection today was not so good, and I apologize for any interruption of some sort. So as you can see, this is our website. It contains information. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing the link. It contains information on the project, on the consortium, on the partners, on our main topics. We have a news section that has highlighted a lot of news outlets and events. Lisa has some trouble sharing the link. Can I ask Asia to share it with the main chat, please? Thank you. So here we have the presentation of the project. Sorry for this. Thank you, Asia, for confirming. I know it's really slow. I'm so sorry. My connection is dying on me. Okay. So if you are a very patient person, you can scroll down to the end of the project. Here you will see the parkour and the stations explained. These finalized results will come in the next few days. As some of you know, the end of a project is a rush, and we are trying to finalize everything and to give it a nice polished look for you to take everything and implement it in your classrooms and in your settings. finally we have reached the publication section of our website, where you can find a thesis paper, which is the result of our first research stage at the very beginning of the project, that stemmed from the conclusion that we have derived from our first conference. We also have the background papers that are groundwork for the topics and the themes that are now covered in both versions of the Parkour, and the country slides as well. We also have the roadmap for implementation that, as I mentioned before, could be seen as the last output of the project, and it's basically a very short and concise document that can help educational institutions, guidance officials, managers, whatever kind of professionals that are involved in education, understand how to better implement and equip their colleagues and their organizations the Parkour in their settings. The other and last tool that I wanted to present to you is the e-learning platform, because as we said before, Parkour for the Future is coming to an end, even if we are really, really sad about it. But we also wanted to leave out some traces over the net for you, for the teachers, for the educators, for the youth workers, to still have some training material and some learning material to go and serve on. So the e-learning platform is a free e-learning context where you can gather some information about our methodological rationale. You can see divided into topic sections, our first conference, and we will make sure also to maybe upload this conference as well. So it will be our heritage, we could say, of these 3 amazing years together. And yes, basically could serve you as a learning platform, as a learning base to after develop your teaching programs with our activities. This is our website. I would just like to ask Graziella to step into the last 2 slides of my speech for a very, very last announcement and my final greetings to you all. Thank you so much. You can see your connection is faster than mine. It works way better. So this is mainly for our German audience. Our partner Life has organized their first multiplier event that will basically take all of the information that were shared today and discuss about them and share them with a national, local audience, well, with a little bit less of a rush than what we had today, and will serve for educators, youth workers, and guidance officials as a final point for our project, but as a starting point for them to start learning and understanding how to implement the Parkour in their day-to-day activities. You have the registration link here. I hope it works. This was only, to announce that we have the first multiplier event organized, and also other multiplier events will follow in the other partner countries over the length of October. So we're facing our last month. I've been really, really happy of sharing this path with our colleagues and also with all the participants from the pilotings, from the conferences, from today. It really has been a journey, and a really nice journey, and we really hope that our joint efforts will serve as a good ground for you and for your work, for which we really wish you all the best. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for believing in the Parkour, and we can't wait to see your pictures and your proofs of using the Parkours with your kids. Thank you again, and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.